Welcome to Murders and Minivans, where the coffee is cold, the kids are wild, and the crimes are absolutely unhinged. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tally. Let's talk murders, motherhood, and why we trust absolutely no one. Really late, or if it's like minus 20 or whatever.
Yeah, well, it's very cold.
But then, like, even then, I'm like, oh, I should have walked.
Yeah, but it's so cold. Especially the crazy wind you get, and it like blows in your face.
Yeah. Well, the kids are whining. Like, whatever. Just get in the car.
Yeah. Fine.
Yeah, so I'm covering two stories. One is like the conspiracy that's not really a conspiracy anymore, and then one is a pop culture thing that is ongoing as we speak.
Oh, wowzers. Okie dokie.
Okay, so I'll get into it.
Excellent.
Since mid-2023, 11 people connected to America's most classified research programs have either died under unexplained circumstances or simply disappeared. So they were studying nuclear weapons, rocket engines, asteroid defense, fusion energy, anti-gravity, and then this week it finally got to the highest levels of the American government. So we're talking about, I'll list, there's 11 of them. So I'm just going to quickly I made this brief.
Interesting.
So Michael Hicks was a 24-year veteran of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. I could not include what that was in here if we wanted to make this a normal length episode.
Okay. Smart science.
Very
science.
smart things, yeah. He worked on tracking asteroid missions. He died July of 2023. No cause of death, no autopsy, and NASA never commented on his death.
What?
Which is weird because, like, you should do that.
Yeah. I feel like maybe it was something work-related that he shouldn't have been doing, like radiation or something.
I think because he said in his obituary he wanted funds dedicated to, or his family wanted funds dedicated to Alcoholics Anonymous.
Oh.
So if that's the reason for his death, why wouldn't NASA talk about it?
Maybe something was scary and he was drinking himself to death.
But, like,
maybe he knew
play
too
it
much.
off as though it's nothing. The fact that they're saying nothing, I'm like, well, that's weird.
Yeah. Just say nothing is weird. Yeah, you're right.
The next one is Anthony Chavez. He was a retired Los Alamos National Laboratory employee. In May of 2025, Anthony left his house by foot, like just went for a walk. But he left his car, his wallet, his keys, his phone. He just literally walked away.
And he's just gone.
Has not been found.
Weird.
It gets even weirder. Monica Reza was an aerospace engineer, co-inventor of Mondalloy, which is a nickel-based superalloy built into American rocket engines designed to replace Russian technology. She was the director of materials processing at JPL. On June 22nd, 2025, she went hiking in the Angeles National Forest with two friends. She was 30 feet behind her companion on the trail. She, like, waved to them. And then her companion turned around and she was gone. There's been no body, nothing found.
She had no other family or anything? Do you know? Do you think they're just spies now?
I don't know.
A tiny bit. If they're missing or presumed dead, maybe they just had to cut their ties to move on to the next phase.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Let's put on our tinfoil hats here. They're super spies.
Could be. Well, like, they're all...
You can keep going.
Yes,
Sorry.
no, I will. I will.
I'm like, nah, they're all spies.
So Melissa Cassius, she was an administrative assistant at Los Alamos. She had security clearance. And also, because, like, I used to be an administrative assistant, and I know people are probably thinking, well, why would somebody take an administrative assistant? The knowledge that you know when you're in that role is unreal.
Probably. Yeah, you get access to everything.
Oh, yeah. I had to be put on, like, trading bans when I worked at the last place that I worked at, in oil and gas.
Yeah.
I had to be, like, I could not trade my stocks because I knew too much.
Oh.
So I got, like, official notice. I wasn't even involved in the project.
Yeah, but you have access to everything. Interesting.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, like, admin assistants and executive assistants know a lot.
Yeah.
Also, why you should always be nice to them.
Yeah, get them nice presents.
Always. I'll never do that job again. 4 days after Monica vanished, Melissa dropped a Subway sandwich off for her daughter, drove home, and then disappeared. Her car was in the driveway. Her wallet, her keys, and both phones were inside. The phones had been wiped to factory settings, and surveillance footage caught her walking alone on Highway 518 in New Mexico. She also has not been found.
Did she work at Los Alamos too?
Yes.
Did they all work at the same place?
No, but they all worked. So Anthony worked at the Los Alamos National Lab.
Okay.
Monica Reza, I didn't write where she worked, but
The last two were
NASA.
Los Alamos for sure.
Yes.
Because that's when I started writing them down.
Yes, and then the first one was NASA.
Oh, okay. Yes, sorry. So you said that.
So yes, and then Stephen Garcia, he was a government contractor at the Kansas City National Security Campus, which is a facility that manufactures 80% of all non-nuclear components for America's nuclear weapons arsenal.
Okay.
He, in August 2025, walked out of his Albuquerque home carrying only a gun. Left everything else behind. Then there is Nuno Laririo. I'm so sorry. He was the director of MIT's Plasma Science and Fusion Center. Shot dead at his front door in December 2025 by a former classmate who then immediately died by suicide.
Wow. Okay. That's a very spy move.
And then Carl Grill, this is the second last one, Carl Grillmeyer was a Caltech astrophysicist whose work was supported by JPL. He worked on the telescopes that track near-Earth asteroids. In December 2025, an armed man was caught on his property carrying an unregistered rifle. He was arrested and charges dropped 11 days later. But then on February 16th, 2026, the same man came back and then shot Carl dead on his front porch. Caltech's statement described him as having passed away suddenly. Then there's two more. William Neal McCasland, he was a retired Air Force Major General, and he commanded the Air Force Research Lab, which is a $4.4 billion classified research program. He held oversight of every special access program in the entire Department of Defense, and he also funded Monica Reza's rocket research.
Okay. Yeah.
We need a whiteboard.
Yeah, they're all connected. We do need a murder board in here.
It's on the list.
Oh, that's a good point.
On February 27th, 2026, Neil left his Albuquerque home with his boots, his wallet, and a .38 revolver. He left his phone, his glasses, and all of his wearable devices like Apple Watches, smart rings, and then he walked into the Sandia Mountain foothills and has not been found. Jason Thomas was a Novartis researcher with active Department of Defense contracts. He went missing December 2025 and then found dead in a Massachusetts lake in March of this year.
Oh.
No foul play, but no cause of death has been publicly disclosed. And then this week, Amy Eskridge, 34 years old from Huntsville, Alabama. She was the co-founder of the Institute for Exotic Science. So she was researching experimental propulsion, anti-gravity technology, and in the years before her death, she said openly that it was escalating. She said that she was being surveilled, harassed, threatened. She told people that she needed to publish her findings because, in her words, it's like escalating, more aggressive, more invasive, unquote. She reached out to a retired British intelligence officer for help. He concluded that her death was not suicide. She was found dead on June 11th, 2022, from a gunshot wound to the head, which was officially ruled a self-inflicted cause of death.
Fishy.
But then no public investigative report was ever released, and her case has just now this week resurfaced as part of this pattern. So here's what changed this week. When this comes out, it'll be a while ago. But on Thursday, April 17th, President Trump told reporters that he had, quote, just left a meeting, unquote, on this exact subject. His words, I wish I could do his voice. Pretty serious stuff. I hope it's random.
Oh, yeah. It's not random. Come on.
And then he said, but we're going to know in the next week and a half. Some of them were very important people, and we are going to look at it. I mean, all of them are pretty important. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed that the administration is coordinating with the FBI and all relevant agencies to review the cases and identify any potential commonalities. And then Energy Secretary Chris Wright confirmed on Fox News that there is a formal probe within the Department of Energy coordinated across multiple government branches. When he was asked if the investigation had turned up anything yet, he said, "Too early to say, we haven't found anything alarming yet."
Spies in different countries got them.
Yeah.
The end. I
Russia.
just solved it.
Done.
Yeah, end of episode. Stephanie solved it.
So, the National Nuclear Security Administration, the NNSA, issued a statement saying that it is aware of reports related to employees of our labs and is looking into the matter. And then Congressman Eric Burleson of Missouri, who's been pushing for FBI involvement for months, said this week that, quote, "They literally just disappeared, left all of their devices at home. This is not normal. These are some of the most advanced scientists and researchers in our nation. Some of the most important people for national security efforts, and they just all mysteriously disappeared," unquote.
Yeah, they've been taken, I'm telling you. Taken or murdered because they weren't going to give up anything. They were unwilling to go work for them, so they killed them.
Yeah, probably. No, you're probably right.
Thank you.
So experts at places like the Center for Strategic and International Studies have pushed back. Boring. One analyst said that if all of these people were working on a single project, then he'd be more suspicious, but scattered across several years and different institutions, the cases could still be a coincidence.
No.
There's no such thing as a coincidence.
No, they're not.
But yeah, so 4 people walked out of their New Mexico homes on foot, left everything behind, and then vanished into the desert. 2 of them worked at Los Alamos. 1 commanded the classified research program that funded America's next generation rocket technology. Another manufactured nuclear weapons components. And then the woman who invented the alloy that these rockets run on disappeared from a trail in California 8 months before the general who funded her research vanished. That's really weird to me.
It's definitely really weird.
It's a little suspicious.
It's very sus, as the kids say. It's pretty sus.
I've said that a couple times. I'm like, no, can't do that. But you pull it off.
I'll do it.
Okay, now, the second thing that we're going to get into before the actual episode.
Oh, okay. I was already intrigued.
Yeah, this is going to be even worse. So...
Aliens.
Nope.
Okay.
Gross teacher.
Oh, no.
So now...
Was he taken?
No.
Oh, because that would be a nice segue.
So I'll just start from the beginning, and I'm going to tell... Well, because
I'll stop interrupting. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. But you know none of these people.
Excellent.
So I have it in here as though you are new to planet Earth.
Okay.
Who is Haley Beck?
Hard to say.
Haley Beck is the 27-year-old sister of Noah Beck, who is a TikTok star and actor who is set to appear in Fox's Baywatch reboot. Haley was a psychology and sociology student at Centennial High School in Peoria, Arizona. Haley did not request a hearing to dispute her termination by the April 8th deadline, meaning that she is now fired officially.
Oh.
Well, what happened, Tally?
Yeah,
You're wondering?
I have no idea. Please tell us.
A nearly 200-page police report details that Beck allegedly groomed and had a sexual relationship with a teenage student beginning before he turned 18. She referred to herself as his sugar mama and sent him over $600 via Apple Pay. A handwritten note found at her apartment read, quote, "For this relationship being extremely wrong, I feel like we have really made the most of it," unquote. As of the most recent reporting, the Maricopa County Attorney's Office is still reviewing the case and expects to make a charging decision within the next few weeks. No arrests have been made. Police referred 1 count of pandering. This is the second time that investigators submitted the case. So then prosecutors sent it back, requesting additional investigation. Now, there's a second teacher. Haley wasn't the only teacher involved in this. There was a 47-year-old teacher named Angela Burlaka, who was also accused of sexual misconduct with the exact same student.
Wow.
Experts noted that it's extremely rare to see 2 women independently targeting the same male victim. Now there's a huge school failure angle because the principal at Centennial High was alerted to Beck's behavior as far back as February of last year, so February 2025.
Oh, that's too long. 6
months before police even got involved, and no action was taken. Then there was a resurfaced video of Noah and Haley doing this like trend that was viral last year, in which Noah joked on camera that his sister, like, so Noah Beck, like her sister, Noah and Haley
brother?
Beck, yes.
The one who didn't get the Baywatch job?
No, probably not.
Okay, I'd be pissed.
He joked on camera that his sister's best friends are her students. There's a lot of icky stuff coming out on TikTok about it. Like, there's like some of the texts have been released, and they're crazy.
Some people, like in a nurturing kind of way, like with elementary school teachers, say that like their students are their children, and often like
When they're in elementary school.
Yeah, very nurturing, very different to have that relationship with a high school student and to be best friends. No.
Yeah.
It's like saying your child is your friend. Nope.
No, they're your child.
No.
I know. I went down a little rabbit hole on this and just like the text messages.
Yuck.
And then she had a TikTok like about her being a teacher, and she would record her talking to her students, and then she would Snapchat them. And
did none of the parents be like, you shouldn't be snapping your teacher?
There's a whole bunch of stuff going around about the parents too, and I don't know if it's true or not, so I don't want to say. Also on TikTok, apparently the kid's girlfriend came out and like started talking about it. Again, who knows if that's true. There's also, like, I know in my head that they're all very young, but then when I watched the interview of like the girlfriend, and then it was the guy that sat next to the victim, he must be out of high school now. He went and he talked about what he saw between the two. And just like hearing him talk and all the slang, I'm like, what? Yeah, you are young. Because like, I don't know what you're saying. So like I know that they were young, but just like hearing them talk about it, I'm like, you're babies.
Yeah.
You're actual babies.
Yeah. Ugh. Yikes. Awful.
Gross.
But how pissed would you be if you couldn't get the Baywatch job because your sister was disgusting?
Well, like one of the things, and this is allegedly, so allegedly, he was supposedly paying off, like offering hush money to the kids.
Oh, maybe. Which is awful, but yeah, you're definitely complicit at that point. You know what's going on.
Yeah.
Bad.
Well, I have another cult story for you.
Are these all like just standalone stories, or do they circle together eventually?
No, they don't. I just really want to talk about those two things. Because like I was like,
when is this going to circle back and make sense?
None of it connects at all. Actually,
okay,
they're all unrelated, but I needed to talk about it.
Okay. It's like you need a vent session. Okay.
Yes.
I'm with you now.
And they're crime related.
I was just like, how did this dumb person get involved with rockets? Like, she's still here.
Nope. Two different stories. And I wanted to make this whole like missing scientist story an entire episode, but when I was reading back my notes, I was like, I sound fucking insane. Like I can't actually, there's no way I can make this sound normal. So I just said, you know what?
Just gonna do a few light stories. Okay. No, I find that very intriguing.
I know. You won't stop thinking about it.
No, I am. This one might like stick with me. Yeah. I don't know how I'm going to write a Substack that relates to all these. Because I try to sometimes line them up a little bit.
You're going to be like that gif of like that. What's he from?
It's Always Sunny.
Yeah,
He has like all the strings.
It's going to be you.
Yeah. How do I make sense of this?
Yeah.
Whatever. It'll be funny.
Yes.
Anyway, sorry. No. Intriguing. That teacher's disgusting. That is weird that there were two teachers at the same school.
That is weird.
And it's the same student too.
Yeah.
Oh,
and again, allegedly, and I'm not victim blaming at all. Like his brain is not developed. He's a child. Like he did nothing wrong.
Even if he kind of understood what was happening, he didn't understand the ramifications and the seriousness. If he had any understanding at all. And also, I have a few questions. What do you think? Like, are the teachers typically younger, like close-ish in age to the students, or are they
47-year-old.
older? She was 47.
The other teacher, Angela.
Oh, okay. Noah. I kind of missed it.
Haley Beck is like 27.
Oh, so a younger one and an older one. Ew, because that's not it's not really common.
No, that's really icky.
So that's just horrible that it happened at the same school.
There's a lot of rumors going around about like why this wasn't caught, and then some of the text got leaked. And again, I'm not victim blaming at all. I'm not playing devil's advocate. I'm not doing anything. I'm just stating the facts. If those messages are real, and I think they are, how he was messaging Haley Beck, I'm like, wow, he was like quite aggressive.
Really?
Not like sexually forward. He was just like, verbatim, it was like, you suck. Give me $50. Like, I'll give you $50 or give me $50 and I'll hug you. And she allegedly was saying, like, if you compliment me, I'll give you $100, or like just shit like that. So like very sad on both sides. I'm like, both of you are gonna need some very intensive therapy.
Yeah. Wow.
She needs to go to jail.
Yeah, I would think so.
Holy fuck. Yeah. The whole situation, like, what is happening on planet Earth? There's too much news going around.
There's a lot. Yeah. I just, I'm lost for words.
Yeah.
On the bad teachers.
I know.
There are so many bad things that happen in the world. Yeah. But I feel like crimes like these are just the lowest. Like, crimes against children, especially when you're in a position of authority, you are just the scum of the earth.
Also, like, what is attractive to people?
Oh my God, I can still smell like the cigarillos and Axe body spray of my high school youth.
Yeah.
Like, why is that something that you're like,
Yeah, like, how does that get you going?
No, I have like almost not... I was going to say PTSD, but like, we don't want to go there. No. Yeah. But I have like bad flashbacks, like, high school hallways.
Yeah,
like,
gross.
You can't breathe.
I know. I've been attracted to older men since I developed feelings of attraction. I was like, oh God, no, nobody here.
No.
I did, like, to be cool, but like...
Yeah, I think I typically dated, like, even when you're like just holding hands at school,
yeah,
it's still always someone older. Not like, not inappropriately older, but like a year or two, because I'm like, not these guys. Too immature.
No. And then, you reach your mid-30s, and then you say, actually, they're all bad.
I have to take care of all of them anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
We say that with love.
With love.
Yeah, we're not referring to the victims anymore. We're just talking about general
out of our asses about people in life.
Yes, we're separate situation.
Yeah.
Nobody get angry.
No. The husbands who listen to this sometimes.
Well, Brian listens to it all the time.
Neil does.
So and I always like, because it's so far ahead, he's like, he'll say something and then I'll be like, that wasn't nice. And it's always something about him. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're saying. I forget.
Yeah, no, they just slips through my brain by the time we get to it.
It's like a book. When I'm done reading a book,
gone.
God knows.
I know. I just got a notification about a 4th book in a series. And I'm like, God help us, this better be the last book in this series. It's another one. And I had to read the entire like synopsis to remember what the other 3 books were about. Because I'm like, I remember I liked it.
Well, nobody's putting a gun to your head saying that you have to.
But I need to know what happened. I did really like those characters.
Oh, okay.
But then there were so many made up words. I'm like, what is happening? I might have to start at the beginning. Lady of a Drowned Empire. It's right now there's 4 books and it's fabulous because there's also 2 like side stories and I never read those because they're never good. But I kind of forget what happens.
You're gonna have to read it again.
I think so.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Or like,
there's too many made up words when I was doing the synopsis. I'm like, oh, damn
ask if Miranda. I'm sure Miranda has read it.
Probably.
But like,
I think I
just get somebody to fill you in because sometimes people will fill me in on a book and then it comes like rushing back.
Yeah, like my favorite parts came rushing back, like the romancy bits. I'm like, okay, I remember this, but I don't remember all the made up words. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't need to because they're made up.
Well, and then there's like made up places and then made up like roles. I'm like, this is a lot.
See, I like in books, like the one I'm reading right now, the main character is like a scientist who is researching this like specific mosquito virus. This is why I love Ruth Ware. Okay. Because I'm like, is this a real thing? And then I Google it and I'm like, it's a real thing. I'm like, how do you think of that?
Yeah.
How do you think of that? And she like goes into detail about like what kinds of mosquitoes carry
because she's probably like you. She probably heard some tidbit. And she's like, that's kind of interesting. And then she does a deep dive.
Oh God,
she learns everything about it.
Yeah, she's my hero.
I love
her so much. Okay, I'll just get into it. So,
excellent.
Like I said, another cult. This one again does not have a single murder. There's no one victim. Nothing like that. This is also it's kind of based on a documentary because I watched the Mariah Wilson one and then I was like, oh, this looks good too. It's like documentary season on Netflix.
There you go.
But this is also, parts of this are also on that documentary. And it's called The False Prophet really good, actually.
Okay.
This is the story of the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the FLDS.
Ooh, okay.
A polygamist cult that operated across the American Southwest.
I don't know why I find polygamy funny today. I'm sorry.
Are you thinking of...
Mormon wives?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
What are you thinking of?
I don't know. Just polygamy cults. That's kind of funny. Like, could you not make up your mind? You're like, I need to go to a group where we're like, fuck it. We don't need rules. Everybody in.
Well, no. This one had a lot of rules.
Oh, okay. Well, as cults do. Did you know, like when I was doing the Substack, Canada doesn't have, like, it's not, there's not the right terminology and they can't prosecute you for being in a cult.
You heard it here first, folks.
Isn't that
you
funny?
want to start a cult?
Yeah, I guess you just can.
I have questions about cults, like so many, but why are they all involved with multiple wives? Like,
I don't know that. Yeah, I don't get that part. I understand people feeling like they have too many restrictions on their lives and they imagine this magical freedom that could come with living on a farm with other people.
This one wasn't a farm either.
Oh my God.
So much worse.
Than a farm? I feel like that's a lot of work. So like, did they take over a condo building?
Well, you'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, also, I just want to say, if you want to join my cult would be everybody...
Conspiracy cult.
Yeah, you have to listen to me talk about conspiracies. You can't disagree with me on any hot take that I give. And you have to watch all of the seasons of Housewives, front to back, write a report on each one.
There's a lot of rules already.
Mm-hmm. And then you need to, if you disagree with my views on each housewife and then each fight or situation in each season, you're out.
I don't think I can join this cult.
You have to buy me chocolate covered sea salt caramels from Purdy's.
Oh, okay, those are good.
And
those used to be my favorite, but then dairy.
Yeah.
But they have the really good vegan, like they're like a black salt something.
It's worth it to suffer.
They are yummy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the black salt like cuts my mouth, so
yeah, exactly.
I might go back to sea salt caramel.
Exactly. Delicious. See, my cult's already working.
Well, I don't think I can sit and watch all those shows with you.
Yeah.
Not all those housewives.
Diet Coke. You have to give me a case of Diet Coke. Not every month, because if there's a whole bunch of cults. No Miracle Whip.
Yeah, that's fair.
In my cult. You have to give me Diet Coke and only New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. And nice tequila. Give me that too. That's my cult.
You just want people to serve you?
Yeah.
All your favorite things.
What is the benefit to you? You will be a Bravo fan and you will have all the correct opinions. That's the benefit to you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay. So anyways,
sexy cult. Not sexy.
This is not a fun cult.
No.
They operated across the American Southwest. They built a compound in rural Texas. And, fun fact, they had a fully functioning outpost right here in Canada.
Really?
4 hours south of us. In a settlement tucked into the mountains of southeastern BC called Bountiful.
Oh, that sounds familiar. Maybe it's just a funny name.
I think it's just a funny name, like paper towels.
Yeah, because it's definitely one that sticks in your brain.
Yeah. So, this one is very heavy. But before we go anywhere, I just want to clear anything up. The FLDS is not the Mormon church. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is like the mainstream Salt Lake City-based Mormon church, actually renounced polygamy in 1890, over 130 years ago.
Okay, so a fair enough amount of time ago.
Yes, like they have nothing to do with this, so people often will confuse Mormons like with FLDS.
Okay, I can see what you mean. Yeah.
So again, no affiliation whatsoever. They've actually pushed back on media outlets, like the normal Mormon church has like pushed back on media outlets for using the word Mormon to describe FLDS members. Okay. The LDS church has its own complicated history. Joseph Smith actually married girls as young as 14, and Brigham Young's youngest wife was 15. Brigham Young is who Brigham Young University in Utah is named after.
That is not a good name.
Apparently it was if you got a university name.
Brigham Young?
Yeah.
Come on.
Is it because it's your last name?
No. Bring them young.
Oh, I didn't even get that. Look at you go. You're an author.
It was low-hanging fruit.
That was really
And you
good.
read it out a lot. And you said
did.
he had young wives.
I did. I never connected it.
Oh my God, you're asleep at the wheel.
I am. I'm telling you, it's the second I turned 35, my brain left the building.
Because you're funny. Like, I just don't know how you didn't get, like, it's like a joke, a cosmic joke. Of course he had a young wife. Bring him young.
That's really good. Maybe my memory will come back when I'm 37.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
So the modern mainstream church has actually spent a century trying to distance themselves from plural marriage and all of those bad guys, even though there's a university named after them. But whatever. Bring them young. What the FLDS is, and what the Southern Poverty Law Center has formally designated it as, is a white supremacist, homophobic, anti-government, totalitarian cult. Totalitarian.
Whatever.
That's their language. So, now Rulon Jeffs himself publicly said on record that, this is his words, not ours, that black people are the vehicle through which the devil brings evil to earth.
Wow.
He actually preached against interracial marriage. He preached also against gay people, and he referred to non-members as the enemy. And his followers were taught that the outside world was corrupt and spiritually contaminated, and that obedience to the prophet was the only path to salvation. And again, in my cult, it would be obedience to Bravo was the only path to salvation. I'm not trying to make light of it, but I gotta laugh.
But it helps because it's very heavy.
It is.
But how do people still think like this? Like, I just don't get it.
Oh my God, I don't know. It makes no sense to me.
Did your parents take too much of something while they were pregnant with you? Like, how does your brain
it's
work?
the Tylenol.
Whatever. She says ironically.
Yes, I know. I have to be careful what I say because we're not on camera, so people can't see my face.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did this start? The short version is in the late 1800s, the mainstream Mormon church was under enormous federal pressure to ban polygamy as a condition of Utah statehood. They issued what's called the Manifesto in 1890, officially prohibiting plural marriage. But then a second manifesto followed in 1904. Then they started to excommunicate members who refused to give up plural marriage and polygamy. And then a group of true believers scattered to the edges, literally to the remote borderlands between Arizona and Utah, and then they set up a community in a place called Short Creek. They believed a claim made in 1912 by a man named Loren Woolley that God had appeared to then LDS President John Taylor in 1886 and told him that polygamy must never be abandoned. And they believed that this divine revelation superseded everything that came after it. The church had sold out, but these people had not, in their view. Then by 1935, the LDS Church had excommunicated nearly all of them, and then Short Creek became their refuge. And over the following decades, it became so much darker. So, July of 1953, Arizona Governor Howard Pyle ordered a raid on Short Creek. At 4 a.m., 102 state police officers and National Guard soldiers descended on the community and then arrested the entire population. So 263 adults were taken into custody, and then 236 children were removed from their families. Some of those children spent more than 2 years in state care before they were allowed to return to their parents, and some parents just never got custody back at all.
Wow, that's sad.
That was actually the largest mass arrest of polygamists in American history. But it backfired catastrophically, as these things do. Mm-hmm. The photographs that ran in national newspapers showed crying mothers clutching their children, bewildered kids being separated from their families, and the public reaction was not outrage at the polygamists, it was outrage at the government. Yeah. Governor Pyle's political career was effectively demolished. Mm-hmm. And the message received by law enforcement across the country was, don't touch this community, it's too messy, and the optics are too bad.
Why did they end up going in there? Do you know? Was it just polygamy, or was there like other things?
I think because in polygamy, you technically can take an underage wife in these.
Really?
Things. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, someone.
Like, I don't know. Like, poly just means multiple.
Like, I've never heard of polygamy in these circles where they're not underage. You're thinking of polyamorous.
Yeah. Is polygamy and polyamorous not just the same word?
I think polyamorous means like you can have multiple partners of age.
Yeah, I always thought that of age was a given. Polyamorous versus polygamy. Both are non-monogamy, but they differ significantly. Polyamory is having multiple loving, consensual, romantic relationships while focusing on emotional connection. Polygamy is the practice of being married to more than one spouse at a time.
Yeah, I don't think it's like in the rules, but I've always...
So polygamy is marry, polyamory is sleep with a bunch of people.
Technically...
But you think it was underage people in this situation?
For sure.
Okay, so the children were at risk. Okay.
Yeah. I'm assuming so, because based on all of these raids.
Yeah, well, I wasn't sure if it was another Waco, like there were guns or weapons or something. But
well, and Waco also had other shit going on too.
Yeah, they got their hands full over there.
Mm-hmm. In the 50 years that followed, Short Creek was actually renamed Colorado City, and it was left almost entirely alone to do whatever it wanted, and it grew and it kept radicalizing, and then it produced Rulon Jeffs. Now, to understand Warren, you have to understand his dad. His dad, Rulon Jeffs, what a name.
Yeah, wow.
Became president of the FLDS church in 1986. By then, he was already in his 70s, and he ruled the community through what the FLDS called the one-man doctrine, the belief that God works exclusively through one man at a time, and that man's authority is absolute and unchallengeable. You did not question the prophet. You do not petition the prophet. You just obeyed. Now, Rulon had approximately... Hold on to your butts for this. 20 wives.
Who agrees to sign up to this stuff? Like, Neil has one, and he has a hard enough time keeping up with all my demands.
Well, that's because we...
married good humans?
Number one. But then number two, like, you and I are a little bit more feisty, I would say.
Yeah. I got the personality of like 3.
Yeah.
He's got his hands full.
Exactly. Brian always says that too. He's like, I'm already polygamous. Like, I already have multiple partners. Why would I need to?
The list of to-do things. Like, Neil has no more time.
Exactly.
He does not have time for more wives.
There you go. If you want your husband to be monogamous, you keep him busy.
Yeah. Do you know what needs fixing? Probably your whole bathroom.
And just be crazy.
Yeah. Do you maybe want a deck built?
Yeah.
Get a deck built.
I do. I have asked Brian multiple times throughout our marriage, like, do you wish that maybe I was like a subservient wife and like would just say yes? And he's like, no, I need the challenge. I'm like, okay, good to know. So be
extra. Okay, is what you're saying. It's okay to be extra because it keeps them busy.
Exactly. There you go. Relationship advice from Murders and Minivans. So Rulon, again, he would accumulate more wives than the 20 throughout his tenure. By the time of his death, he had at least 46 wives. And he fathered more than 60 children.
That's too many wives.
It's too many kids,
too many kids.
Oh, Jesus.
I bet you he's not paying for all of them.
No. So his wives ranged in age from elderly women to teenage girls.
Ew.
The youngest were given to him as religious honor. It was an act of devotion from the families who surrendered their daughters. The land the community lived on was held by a trust called the United Effort Plan, the UEP. It had been established in 1942 and was worth, by the early 2000s, approximately $100 million.
Wow.
But members did not own their homes. The church did. They were permitted to live on the FLDS property so long as they remained in good standing. Excommunication, which could happen at any time for any reason that the prophet decided, meant losing your house, your land, your community, your children, literally everything. You'd be out. This was by design because when people have nothing outside the community, they stay in the community.
Yeah.
Rulon also set up what was called the law of placing or placement marriage. In the FLDS, you did not choose your own spouse. The prophet assigned wives to men based on their spiritual worthiness and the prophet's own judgment. A man could receive a new wife as a reward for obedience, and a man could have his wives reassigned to somebody else as punishment for disobedience. Women,
wow.
Yeah. Like, what did you have to do?
Yeah. What happened?
Women and girls had no say in who they married. None. Of course. Like, why would we have say?
Yeah. How silly.
Marriage was not a covenant between two people. It was a transaction between men brokered by the prophet.
Ew.
Don't you love being property?
Man.
By the time Rulon was dying, Warren had spent years consolidating his own influence. He had effectively become his father's right-hand man, speaking for him in meetings, conducting church business, and positioning himself at the center of every decision. When Rulon died in September of 2002, Warren moved with startling speed. well, who's Warren? Warren Steed Jeffs was born in Sacramento, California. I'm so sorry, Stephanie. On December 3rd, 1955. A Sagittarius.
Oh, get out. Yuck, he's sullying it.
2 months premature, which his followers would later frame as spiritually significant.
Is it, though?
So, I guess if you were
so
born
he wasn't
early,
meant to be with us.
Yeah, I don't know. Weird.
Injected him early. Ugh.
So he grew up outside of Salt Lake City, and he was quiet, controlled, and angular. He was a man who gave off a very particular energy of somebody who had been waiting a very long time for everybody to realize that he was special. At 21, he became the principal of Alta Academy, which is the FLDS's church's private school. He ran it for 2 decades. Former students describe him as very strict, like intense, and he was a stickler in the words of people who were there. He monitored everything, controlled everything, and he believed in total and complete discipline. What he was doing for 20 years was also practicing. When his father's decline accelerated in the late 1990s, Warren stepped in as the de facto leader. He handled the communications, managed the church's businesses, conducted the placement marriages, and he, by that time, became indispensable. So then when Rulon died, he just said he declared himself the prophet.
Yeah.
Before anybody else could organize a challenge. Now, there was a challenge anyways, because Winston Blackmore, who was the bishop of the FLDS community in Bountiful, BC, and a significant figure in the church, had his own claim to consideration. Warren's response was to excommunicate him within weeks. We'll come back to Winston.
Wow, okay.
So his first move after his dad's death set the tone for everything that followed. He gathered the senior leadership and he said, "Hands off my father's wives."
Ooh.
He said, quote, "You women will live as if father is still alive and in the next room," unquote. Within a week, he had married virtually every single one of them. The only exceptions were one woman who flatly refused, and she was subsequently prohibited from ever marrying again as punishment. And that was Rebecca Musser, who recognized what was happening and then fled the compound before he could get to her. Rebecca would go on to become one of the most important witnesses against him at trial, and we'll come back to her too. At his peak, Warren had somewhere between 78 and 80 wives. His favorite and his most trusted confidant was a woman named Naomi Jessup, who was one of his father's former widows who had married Warren early and then traveled with him constantly during the years that he spent as a fugitive.
This guy is just such a catch.
Oh, God. As prophet, Warren held the sole authority to perform marriages in the church. That was not like a ceremonial distinction. It just meant that he decided every marriage. He would assign girls to men. He assigned additional wives to men that he wanted to reward. He stripped men of their wives, children, and homes when they fell out of favor, and he expelled adult men from the community, the Lost Boys, they were called, to manage the gender ratio and ensure that there were enough young women for the older men who had proven their loyalty.
Ew.
He preached that a man needed at minimum 3 wives to reach the highest level of heaven. Sorry.
So we get you there? We get you up to heaven? You're welcome?
Yeah. Fuck, we do everything.
We do everything.
The more wives a man had, the closer he was to God. And that theology created constant demand that required a constant supply of young women sourced from within the community, assigned younger and younger as the years went on, and the supply tightened.
I just don't, I don't know how parents can do that to their children. How do you get so brainwashed? It's interesting.
Yeah, I do talk about it later.
Okay.
A little, not the brainwashing, but that situation. How do they actually function as a system? So the UEP trust controlled everything. Housing, land, commercial property, all of it was flowing through the church. So again, the more wives and kids you had, the more space you needed, and space was granted by the prophet's office. So loyalty was housing, and disloyalty left you homeless.
Bananas.
Employment functioned the same way. Most of the businesses in Colorado City and Hilldale were owned by church members who were in good standing. But if you were excommunicated, you also lost your job. Your former employer, who himself was an FLDS member, would not rehire you, and the community would not buy from you, and you were economically erased. Education was conducted inside of the community's own schools, where the curriculum was controlled by the church. The outside world was presented as spiritually contaminated, and kids grew up with almost no understanding or exposure to mainstream American life, and most of them had never even used the internet or left the community at all.
Wow.
Without supervision. On top of all of that, members were encouraged to exploit government assistance as a religious practice. They called it bleeding the beast. And that logic was simple because only one wife was legally recognized and all other wives qualified as single moms. So the more wives and children a man had, the more welfare checks, food stamps, and WIC benefits flowed into the household.
Wow.
So by 2003, more than $6 million in public assistance money was being funneled into the Colorado City alone annually.
Holy moly.
The prophet had his followers extracting millions from a federal government that they believed to be their spiritual enemy. That was the machine. That's kind of like how it really functioned. And these were adults with no education and no ID in some cases and no experience of the outside world and no support network, nothing. It's a cult, not a church. So the women's lives inside of that cult were governed by a specific set of rules that extended to their bodies, clothes, and their hair. Women were not allowed to cut their hair short. They never wore pants. They wore long-sleeved, ankle-length prairie dresses, often in pastel colors and often homemade, and with their hair coiffed in a style associated with 19th century religious modesty. No makeup, no piercings. The external appearance of women in the FLDS was very visible of like submission and ongoing active compliance. The one thing I'll say is they can braid a sick braid.
Oh, probably.
I watched the
nothing else to do.
Yeah, I'm like, how the fuck did you do that braid? I've been trying to learn that braid my whole life.
Practice it for her whole life. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but then like you also see them doing their hair and like they have to push it up a certain way so that it gets that coif.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is interesting.
Women were expected to, of course, produce children, and many women in the community had a dozen or more kids, and birth control was not an option. Medical care outside of the community was restricted. Women were not permitted to speak about their circumstances to outsiders. There was also a doctrine described by Rulon Jeffs' estranged wife, Charlene, in a 2015 custody proceeding. She described something called the seed bearer doctrine, where designated men were authorized to impregnate women even when their own husbands were no longer permitted to have sex with their wives.
Oh, that's sad.
The husbands were required to be present.
Oh, that's awful.
This was framed as a divine instruction, and Charlene wrote in her custody petition that the husband is required to sit in the room while the chosen seed bearer, or a couple of them, essentially rape his wife or wives.
Whoa.
But she wasn't speaking metaphorically, like she was describing what she herself had witnessed.
Yeah.
A former Inner Circle member named Lauren Holm later described another practice, the so-called Law of Sarah, which involved women being required to perform sexual acts in the presence of church leadership as a form of devotion. Women who refused were separated from their children and sent away to redeem themselves.
Holy moly.
None of this was hidden in the community at
Yeah.
all. Like, it was just, this is life, which is fucking crazy.
Ridiculous.
So, the most important thing to understand about the FLDS, and the thing that took law enforcement and governments the longest to actually do anything about, is what was happening to the kids. Child marriage was not a rare occurrence in the FLDS. It was like a feature. Girls were married off routinely at 14, 15, 16 years old. The prophet assigned them to men who were often decades older, and in many cases were already their relatives.
Ew.
Because the community had been a closed genetic pool since the 1940s, this is actually similar to other communities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nearly everyone in Colorado City was related to nearly everyone else in some capacity.
Yuck.
The community had the world's highest documented rate of a rare genetic disorder called fumarase deficiency, which is a condition caused by recessive genes that produce severe intellectual disability, brain malformation, and epileptic seizures. Scientists who studied it traced every case to descendants of the community's two founding families, because it was just generations of cousin marriages in a closed population.
That is bonkers, but like a researcher's field day.
Right, that's what I thought too. I'm like, somebody's gonna have a great time with this research.
Yeah, their thesis is gonna be bananas.
Yeah. So the community,
but
again,
horrific. It's horrific.
it is terrible. Yes. Again, we're not making light. We just, if you don't laugh, you'll cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
The community knew all of this, and they just kept marrying cousins anyways, because that's what the
moly.
prophet told them to do. Warren personally arranged marriages between adult men and girls as young as 12 and 13, and that's just documented cases. There's definitely younger. One of the most documented cases is Alyssa Wall. Alyssa's older sister Rebecca would later escape and then testify against Warren. She was already married to one of Rulon's sons. Alyssa was 14 when she was told that she'd be marrying her 19-year-old first cousin, Alan. She begged. She asked Rulon directly to let her wait to be given to a different husband to have some time. Rulon did apparently express sympathy, but Warren did not, and the marriage went forward. Wow. Alyssa later testified that Alan raped her repeatedly from the beginning of their marriage. She miscarried multiple times. She said that she begged God to let her die, and she eventually did escape. When Warren's trial came, she stood up in court in St. George, Utah, and told a jury everything. Her testimony was delivered under her own name at an enormous personal cost to her, and it was a direct cause of his conviction, which again we'll get to. Mm-hmm. She wrote a memoir called Stolen Innocence. I haven't read it yet, but it's on my to be read, and I will say, like, just from reading the reviews, not a light read.
No,
like it's pretty heavy. So she was not the only one. Warren's nephew, Brent Jeffs, filed a lawsuit in 2004 alleging that Warren had sexually assaulted him in the FLDS Salt Lake Valley compound when he was 5 or 6.
Holy.
Yeah. His brother, Klain, who made the same allegation, actually died by suicide.
Oh gosh, it's sad.
Yeah. Brent wrote his own memoir, Lost Boy, and his testimony was also used against Warren at trial. 2 of Warren's own kids have publicly accused him of sexual abuse.
Gross.
His daughter, Rachel, eventually escaped and published a memoir called Breaking Free. So I'll list all of these books in the show notes, in which she described years of sexual abuse at her father's hands beginning in her adolescence. The physical evidence from Warren's trial was even more damning than the witness testimony. Warren had a habit of recording himself. He kept audio recordings that he described as spiritual training sessions with his child wives. And these recordings were played in a Texas courtroom in 2011. Observers who heard them described the experience as one of the most disturbing things they had ever witnessed in a legal proceeding. I'm not going to describe it in detail, but if people want to, go ahead. All I'll say is that the jury needed very little deliberation time after hearing that. Photographs were also seized from FLDS records that showed Warren posing with 2 underage wives, one who was 12, celebrating wedding anniversaries. He is smiling in the pictures, but the kids are not.
Oh, that's sad.
In May 2006, the FBI placed Warren on its 10 most wanted list, offering a $60,000 reward that was later raised to $100,000. The public was warned that he might be traveling with armed bodyguards.
Wow, okay.
He was caught on August 28th, 2006, not in like a dramatic standoff, but during a routine traffic stop, actually, just on Interstate 15 north of Las Vegas. A highway trooper pulled over a red 2007 Cadillac Escalade because the temporary plates were not visible. Inside was Warren, his favorite wife Naomi, his brother Isaac. Also in the vehicle were 4 computers, 16 cell phones,
weird,
3 wigs, 12 pairs of sunglasses, and $55,000 in cash.
Wow. On the run, you say?
Yes. So he had been living as a fugitive while continuing to perform child marriages and run the church from the road.
Way to go for that state trooper.
Yeah, literally.
Like, to have that vision, like, to be able to, like, that's pretty... Yeah, good for him. He's quite on it that day.
Figuring out who you just pulled over.
Yeah, you're like, holy.
I hope he got promoted.
It was probably a career maker. Yeah,
for sure.
I'd say. Good for him.
Yeah. In September 2007, a Utah jury convicted Warren of 2 counts of being an accomplice to rape, specifically for forcing Alyssa into the marriage that led her to repeated assault, and he was sentenced to 10 years to life. That conviction was overturned in 2010 by the Utah Supreme Court on just a technicality because the jury instructions had been flawed.
Ooh, uh-oh.
I get that you have to be like a good person and like follow the rules when you're a judge, but when it's somebody like this,
it's just brush someone under the rug. Well, yeah.
Whoops, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Specifically, the court held that the jury should not have been told that Warren could only be convicted if it was proven that he intended for Alyssa's husband to engage in non-consensual sex with her.
Okay.
I don't know. He was retried in Texas on new charges. In August 2011, a Texas jury convicted him of 2 counts of sexual assault of a child, for raping a 15-year-old girl and raping a 12-year-old. So he was sentenced to life in prison.
Good. Well, we got him anyway.
And then fined $10,000.
Good one.
He's currently incarcerated at the Lewis C. Powledge Unit of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice near Palestine, Texas, and he is 70, and he will be eligible for parole in 2038. He has actually attempted suicide multiple times while in custody. He tried to hang himself. He banged his head against the wall. He has staged prolonged hunger strikes and has been hospitalized in a medically induced coma. He told his brother in jailhouse recordings that were released publicly that God never called him to be a prophet, that he was a sinner and a fraud. And then he retracted everything, retook control of the church from prison, and then issued new revelations to his followers.
Holy moly, this guy.
Holy fuck, this guy is nuts.
Just off the deep end.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So, in late 2003, a company connected to the FLDS quietly purchased a 1,371-acre property near El Dorado, Texas. They told locals that it was going to be a hunting retreat, but within months, they were building something that looked like nothing like a hunting retreat. 3 massive residential structures, each between 8,000 and 10,000 square feet, a concrete plant, a plowed field, and eventually an enormous stone temple.
Wow.
There's always going to be a bad neighbor.
Oh my God, is there ever?
The local paper, the El Dorado Success, reported that Warren personally dedicated the temple's foundation from jail. Or 2005. Hold on a second. No. Yeah, so he would have been out of jail. They called it the Yearning for Zion Ranch, YFZ. It was a contingency plan. It was a compound in a new state away from Utah and Arizona jurisdictions where Warren was already attracting legal attention. He was last publicly seen in El Dorado at that dedication ceremony, and then after that he went underground, spending years driving across the country in like the luxury vehicles and performing marriages in mobile homes that were converted into wedding chapels.
Ew. Yeah.
I know this is obviously can happen in Canada too, but it's just,
Wowzers.
yeah. On April 3rd, 2008, Texas Child Protective Services received a phone call from somebody claiming to be a 16-year-old girl trapped at the YFZ ranch. She was married to a 50-year-old man and was pregnant and being abused. That call triggered a multi-day operation with Texas Rangers, CPS workers, and law enforcement descending onto the compound. Over the course of a week, they removed 439 children from the ranch.
Oh my.
It was the largest child welfare removal in American history.
That is a colossal amount of children. Wow.
Yeah. The call was eventually traced to 33-year-old Colorado woman named Rosita Swinton, who had no connection to the FLDS whatsoever and had a documented history of filing false reports.
There you go. You got it.
The Texas appellate courts later ruled that CPS had not presented sufficient evidence of imminent danger to justify removing every single child on the property.
Oh, no.
And then many were returned to their families after the ruling. But I mean, like, that's a fake phone call that, like, kind of paid off. Like, I mean...
Yeah, you got in there.
You got in there and,
kids.
like, they weren't... Yeah. I don't know. What is sufficient evidence? Anyways. But the investigation that followed the raid was not thrown out. Investigators had seized thousands of documents, marriage records, celestial marriage certificates.
Wow.
Which...
What's a celestial marriage?
I don't know, but I love the term of that. And I know
they're ruining it for me.
It's awful in this term, but, like... I would love to be celestially married under like a full moon
context.
in a different context.
Yeah.
Why did they take that term?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
No, I agree. They shouldn't have stole that from us.
No. Journals, financial records, and what those records showed was a systematic pattern of men in their 30s, 40s, and 50s being sealed in spiritual marriage to girls in their early teens. Girls who had given birth to kids before they were legally old enough to drive.
Ugh.
In November 2008, 12 FLDS men were charged with offenses related to underage marriages. By 2010, 6 of them had been convicted of felonies and then sentenced to terms ranging from 7 to 75 years in prison.
Wow.
Raymond Jessup received 10 years for sexually assaulting a 16-year-old girl that he had spiritually married when she was 15. Alan Keat received 33 years in addition to fathering a child with a 15-year-old girl. Court documents showed that he had given 3 of his own daughters to older men in celestial marriage.
Ugh.
2 at age 15 and 1 at 14. The youngest of the 3 was given to Rulon Jeffs.
Yuck.
Merrill Leroy Jessop, 35, was convicted of sexually assaulting a 15-year-old, 75 years. And then the state of Texas eventually moved to seize the YFZ ranch property outright, filing in 2012 on the grounds that it had been used as a location where there was systematic sexual assault of children.
Mm-hmm.
Property was formally seized in April 2014. Now, let's get back to Canada.
Did they bulldoze it?
I don't know.
Like
Actually,
you wouldn't want anyone squatting there. And I feel like it'd be bad mojo to repurpose it. I hope they bulldozed it.
I can look at that later. We'll have to get like waiting music. Like Jeopardy.
Like elevator,
Yeah.
Jeopardy.
So 4.5 hours south of us, across the BC border, into the southeast corner of the province, down into the Creston Valley.
Oh, wow.
Where they make beer. At the base of the Skimmerhorn Mountains, there's a settlement there called Bountiful, which is named after a place in the Book of Mormon.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
And it has been there since 1946. So the first FLDS member that settled there was a man named Harold Michael Blackmore, who moved his family there and then was soon followed by others who shared his belief in plural marriage.
This again?
Mm-hmm. So the location was chosen deliberately because it was so remote. It was barely in Canada, and you can see the Idaho Panhandle from parts of the valley. It was far enough from American authorities to provide cover and far enough from the Canadian population centers to avoid scrutiny. By the 1980s, when a man named Winston Blackmore, who was Harold's descendant, became the Bishop of Bountiful, the community had formalized its relationship with the FLDS. Bountiful was a Canadian arm of the church, and its members were subject to the prophet's authority and participated in the placement marriage system, sent their daughters south when the prophet commanded it. Now, Winston was by any measure a significant figure in the power structure. He was also, by any measure, a child abuser, and he actually admitted to marrying 4 girls at the age of 14. He accumulated 24 wives and fathered 149 kids.
Wow.
He ran a logging and milling operation in Bountiful that functioned the way that all FLDS labor did, as unpaid or near unpaid work performed by community members who had no ability to refuse. Mm-hmm. Men and boys as young as 13 worked the logging crews in cold conditions with no pay. And some lost fingers and toes to equipment accidents.
Yeah.
Just no workplace safety.
Mm-mm.
The homes that they were building, enormous modular log structures that they spent years constructing, were being shipped to FLDS compounds in Texas and South Dakota. But the Bountiful members didn't know that. They found that years later.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Shitty.
So then when Rulon died in 2002, Winston was widely considered the other candidate, like I said earlier. Mm-hmm. Winston had pretty significant standing, but Warren again outmaneuvered him. One account that circulated in the aftermath was detailed by the Godless Mom blog's deeply researched piece on Bountiful. It claimed that Warren had ordered Winston to participate in the execution of a 16-year-old girl who had fled to escape a forced marriage.
Wow.
Winston refused, and then Warren excommunicated him. I can't verify that actual account. Like, I can't find anything verifiable. But it has been talked about in multiple sources, so I'm just going to put it there, allegedly.
Okay.
The community at Bountiful fractured immediately after that. Roughly 400 people followed Winston out of the FLDS, and then the remaining faction, led by a man named James Oler, stayed loyal to Warren. So 2 compounds, 2 bishops, and 1 valley. Both of them were still polygamous. Eventually, Canadian authorities, after years of investigation, found out that between the late 1990s and 2006, more than 30 underage girls were transported from BC across the U.S.-Canada border into the U.S., where they were entered into plural marriages with American FLDS men. Several American girls were again sent to Canada in exchange, and the RCMP called it what it was. Spokesperson Dan Moskaluk said, in essence, it's human trafficking in connection with illicit sexual activity. Mm-hmm. The constitutional questions that this raised were very complicated. Canada has an anti-polygamy law, It's Section 293 of the Criminal Code, if you're curious. But it had never been tested in court.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Prosecutors were not sure that it would survive a charter challenge on religious freedoms. And a BC Supreme Court reference case in 2011 determined that, yes, the anti-polygamy law was constitutional, and yes, it did not violate the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which meant that the charges could be filed. And then 20 years after investigators started looking at Bountiful, Winston and James were charged with polygamy. Brandon Blackmore, Winston's son, and his wife Emily were charged with unlawfully removing a child from Canada for the purpose of sexual activity abroad.
Ooh.
Now, what that charge was about specifically was in February of 2004, Brandon and Emily transported a 13-year-old girl across the U.S. border, and that girl was taken to be married to Rulon Jeffs, who was at that point already a wanted man in the U.S. Fucking crazy.
That's bananas.
In July 2017, Winston and James again were convicted of polygamy, only the third and fourth people in Canadian history to be convicted of that offense at that time. Winston was found to have married 24 women and James 5.
A loser.
I'm gonna go James. Definitely not getting to heaven
only
now.
5.
Yeah.
Peasant.
So Winston received 6 months of house arrest and then 8 months of probation. Unfortunately, Canada.
Yeah.
James received 3 months of house arrest and 12 months of probation. Brandon received 12 months in jail, and Emily received 7 months. I don't really know what to say about that.
What a waste of time. What a waste of everybody's time.
Literally, what the fuck was the point? Okay.
You can't find anything else? Like a traffic ticket? Found nothing else to keep these horrible humans?
Yeah, you can get away with literally anything.
Walk it off, eh?
Yeah. So this is the part of the Netflix documentary.
Okay.
Because this story does not end with Warren going to jail, and it doesn't end with what happened in Bountiful, there's always somebody waiting. In 2019, a 46-year-old man named Samuel Bateman, based in Colorado City, declared himself as the new prophet of the FLDS.
Oh, my Lanta.
Because Warren was in jail.
Yeah.
So he began building his own splinter sect. Warren was already in prison. The main FLDS body was just fractured and diminished, and Samuel stepped into that vacuum with about 50 followers and an operation that was, if anything, more predatory than what Warren had built.
Okay.
So, according to FBI affidavits filed in December 2022, Samuel had taken 20 wives, and the majority of them were minors. He told his male followers, framing it as divine instruction from the Heavenly Father, that they were required to surrender their wives and daughters to him. A follower named Maroney Johnson reportedly wept when Samuel demanded that he hand over his youngest daughter. That girl was born in 2010.
Aww.
When this demand was met in 2020, she was 10 years old. The FBI affidavit said that Maroney expressed great anguish and was under extreme stress over having to give his youngest daughter to Samuel, but he did it anyways.
Yeah, fuck that guy. He did it, though.
He remained a faithful follower. Samuel eventually took all of his daughters as wives. Now,
no sympathy for this man.
Yeah.
None.
The same FBI documents describe an incident in a Nebraska hotel room in November 2020 where Maroney's daughters, who were by then Samuel's wives, were made to watch Samuel and Maroney have sex.
Ew, that's awful.
The girls were told that this was a binding of brothers and that they were forced to have sex with other male cult members. These are kids.
They're babies. They're babies at 10.
There's also detail in those FBI affidavits that I keep thinking about. That Samuel was disgusted by his new child bride, the 10-year-old, because she was wetting the bed.
Oh, because she was scared. It's a trauma response.
I fucking hate that guy.
I would pee the bed every night.
Yeah. I need you to watch the documentary. But when you watch
sad
it,
I want to be.
you'll feel all kinds of emotions. Because it has like a generally, like there's a good ending to it.
Okay.
But just seeing him in this documentary, I'm like, I've just never wanted to really fucking punch a guy in the face.
Yeah.
He has a really punchable face.
Okay.
You know? Mm-hmm. I really hate him a lot. I hate everybody here.
Yeah, these are awful stories.
But specifically. Anyways, yeah. So she was wetting the bed because she was 10.
Yeah, and scared.
Samuel was arrested in August 2022 when authorities pulled him over in Flagstaff, Arizona. They found 3 underage girls locked in a trailer that he was hauling behind his vehicle. In this documentary, I put a note in here. Tally, talk about the documentary and how ridiculous it is.
Okay.
They show it on this documentary. The exact scene that he gets arrested. It's a semi-truck and there's fucking hands, like tiny little hands, pulling the semi-doors closed because they weren't closing properly.
Aww.
So a cop is driving behind. He's like, what the fuck? There are hands.
Yeah.
There's people in this truck.
Yeah.
You're going to get pulled over no matter what.
Yeah.
And he had to coax them. And then he basically, this is all body cam footage. The cops are like asking, they're like, well, what's your name, to Samuel Bateman? And he's just like, I wish we had a video, but he's like crossing his arms like this. And he's like pouting like a fucking toddler.
No.
And he's just like, I'm not telling you. And then he does that for a while. And then he's like, the cops are like, you have to tell us your fucking name.
Yeah.
My God. But he keeps doing that. And I'm like, God, you have a taser, you have a gun, just take him out back. My God.
Everyone get on the same team here.
It was an infuriating documentary.
Oh, that'd
This scene was infuriating.
Yeah, I'd be so mad.
So Samuel Bateman was charged with child endangerment, tampering with evidence, and federal charges related to the transportation of minors. 3 of his wives were actually also charged with kidnapping and impeding a foreseeable prosecution.
They're probably so brainwashed, though.
Maroney's wife plays a really big part in this documentary as well because she thought it was fucking weird that she had to give her daughters away to Samuel Bateman. But you're raised to do what the man wants. Like, you don't have an opinion. You can talk about it, but you're not, like, if the man says we're doing it, you're doing it. And so she talks about that, and she started to like say like how weird things are, and she started to like pick these little things up. And then finally, like, when he did get arrested and when everything kind of came to a crash, he was recorded on this documentary and he's like, I can't believe I did that. Like, I can't believe that I gave up my daughters to this man. So I'm like, I'm so interested in the psychology of how you get here. Because everybody says that I can't be brainwashed into a cult. But it happens so much.
Yeah. Like,
so that was what happens.
That was the Substack I just wrote. Well, I think it's going to be released for next week because it'll go with our cult episode.
Oh. Well, you sent it to me.
Oh, no, it was this week. So then it's for this week. Yeah, sorry. I was hoping I was further ahead than I was, but I'm not. But it's like the most at risk are the vulnerable. Yeah. So, like, if there's a big death in the family or if there's a big shift in your lifestyle, like when people go off to college, that's often the time.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're like, they're relearning the world.
Yeah.
And so that's when they're when there's a big shift in their lives that changes their outlook is when they're most susceptible.
It's true, actually, because when I read stories of cult survivors, that's typically what happens.
Like that. They needed direction. They needed a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
So that's what I talk about a little bit is, like, when you're sending your kids off to college or something, just make sure they have a support structure. So that's why it's really good when you send them to, like, a school away, if that's your choice, to one that has, like, apartment buildings and roommates in the apartments.
Yeah.
So you're surrounded by people and connection and you never feel like you're lonely and alone. And then often, because you're living on campus, they have campus security. So those are the safest.
That's true.
Is living on campus because there's security and other people.
My kids are not allowed to leave me.
But you want the best for them and for them to be successful.
Yeah, they can do that here. Not here where we live, but, like, they can go, like, to the city.
Yeah.
That's okay. You're not going anywhere else. Mark my words.
We'll see. We'll see.
I will go with them.
I'll probably go with them too.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to spend a little bit of time at the end here. Getting out of the FLDS is not like leaving a bad job or a bad relationship. It really legitimately requires dismantling your entire conception of your world, accepting that everything that you were taught about God, salvation, your own purpose on earth was a lie that was constructed by a man who wanted to use you. It oftentimes means losing your family, either because they stay or because the community turns them against you. It means entering a world that you were told was contaminated and evil, with no education, no money, and no ID, no map. And it means doing all of that while carrying the theological weight of believing that you are condemning yourself to eternal damnation. So, like, it's not easy.
No.
So Carolyn Jessup, I mentioned her earlier, she escaped in 2003 with her 8 children, including a disabled daughter, after spending years methodically planning her exit. She had no access to money or ID beyond what the church permitted her to have. She drove away in the middle of the night, leaving behind everything that she had ever known.
Can't believe she got the kids out.
I know.
That's commendable.
Yes, I think I mentioned that she wrote a book. I'll also link it. She's also related by the community's very tangled family tree, that's a circle, to Winston Blackmore, the Bountiful bishop. Alyssa Wall was 14 when she was forced to marry her first cousin, and then 19 when she left. She again testified against Warren. The choice that she made deliberately, she wanted the world to know her name, and she wanted to be seen as a person and not a piece of property or a case number.
Good for her. Mm-hmm.
Rebecca Musser, whose older sister Alyssa was forced into that marriage, had her own harrowing story. She was one of Rulon Jeffs' wives, and then when Rulon died and Warren told the widows that they could live, widows as if they could live if their husband was still alive, Rebecca understood immediately what was coming. She fled before Warren could marry her. I think I've mentioned this again. She wrote her book about the experience in The Witness Were Read.
Oh.
Rachel Jeffs is Warren's own daughter, and she was born into the center of the church's power structure. Still couldn't escape the abuse, and she had publicly described being sexually abused by her dad beginning in her adolescence.
Aww.
And she escaped the FLDS when Warren went to prison and then published Breaking Free. Brent Jeffs, who was Warren's nephew, filed his lawsuit in 2004 alleging sexual assault when he was between 5 and 6. And again, his brother made the same claim. They also have a book. And then there is Brielle Decker. Brielle was one of Warren's wives, and after he went to prison, she left, and then she did something extraordinary. She established the Short Creek Dream Center inside one of Warren's former homes in Colorado City with a director named Gina Jones, and she turned the physical space of her captivity into a refuge for people who were escaping it. She provides counseling, meals, temporary housing, and help navigating the outside world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
So former FLDS members who have never used the internet or opened a bank account, held a job or anything, they show up there, and then she helps them build a life.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. So every single one of these women was told from birth that their value was in their obedience, and that sweet, silent compliance was her highest calling, and that the prophet's word was God's word and resistance was damnation. And they were raised in a system specifically engineered to make them impossible to hear, which is...
Fuck those guys.
So, yeah. In 2002, from his prison cell in Palestine, Texas, Warren began issuing new revelations to his remaining followers. He instructed fathers who had left the church to return and reunite with their wives and children. They declared that God could not allow sin to dwell in the church any longer, and they told followers to gather their children back in the community within 5 years in preparation for the end of the world.
Okay. He's getting desperate here.
Mothers who had escaped the FLDS and taken their kids began reporting this. And then in 2023, those kids had gone missing. Apparently, they had pulled back into the community somehow.
Oh, that's sad.
By 2023, investigators were reporting that FLDS members had scattered into North Dakota to avoid law enforcement scrutiny. And Warren's son, Helleman, who had been designated to distribute the revelations and perform new polygamous marriages, was using a P.O. box in Russo, North Dakota. Now, the members who are still loyal to Warren actually talk to him regularly over Zoom. In Bountiful, Winston actually still lives in that community, and his house arrest ended, of course, long ago. The convictions did not dissolve the polygamous families.
So this bullshit is still going on.
Again, a waste of fucking time. They did not dismantle the community. The community has splintered and destabilized because of Warren's grips from prison had kind of like weakened it. Mm-hmm. But it still persists. Persists. I've been talking too much. Former members who have left describe a powerful, less visible effect of the legal proceedings. The convictions legitimized what survivors had experienced for the first time. For the first time, the outside world formally acknowledged that what has been done to them was a crime. That's it. That's the whole story.
I can't believe it's still happening.
I know.
I'm pissed.
I'm pissed too. I'm like, let's go to Bountiful.
Yeah.
I'm delusional now after talking.
I just can't. But yeah, that's horrendous. How did no one learn their lesson here? How did that not wrap itself up by now? How does it still exist?
No education.
What? I don't know.
So the whole premise of the False Prophet documentary is this woman who is not part of the church at all. She lives in that community. I forget the name already. Colorado City. She lives in that community, so she knows these people and she talks to them. And she is a psychologist.
Okay. So she's allowed in?
So she basically... She knew that something sketchy was going on with Samuel. And she basically decides, okay, she goes to them and she says, there's so many documentaries made against your religion. Why don't I come in here? Because her husband does something with like cinematography or like film. So, or a cameraman, I don't know. But so basically she says, why don't we come in and we record a documentary of what your life is actually like and like the pros of your religion and stuff like that. And Samuel is a huge fucking narcissist. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, record my every move.
You have to be a narcissist to start your own pretend religion.
Yes. So she basically goes in there and it was like years of recording. And then finally she ended up going to the FBI or the cops multiple times. The local cops were useless. Yeah. Absolutely ridiculously useless.
Almost complicit.
Yeah. And then she basically had presented them with like audio recordings of him admitting to abusing like 9-year-old girls. And she took it to the cops like, wow, we can't really do anything with this. And then and then she's like, well, why can't I just go to the FBI? And the cops said, well, it has to cross state lines in order to be considered by the FBI. And she's like, oh, it has crossed state lines, like I have proof of that. So then they're like, fine, just fucking call the FBI. Like, not word for word, but like basically that's what he was just like tired of her. And the FBI agent who dealt with this is on the documentary too. And she's like, I don't understand why it took so long. You guys should have contacted us. Yeah. Forever.
This is outrageous. Yeah.
And it was one of her very last cases and then she retired. But like, phenomenal job. I love all documentaries. I've never spoken like ill of one, but this is like a really well done one.
Okay, interesting.
Must watch. Yeah, and it'll give you a glimpse. There's another one too about Rulon Jeffs called Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey. That one I think is on Prime, maybe. But that's it. That's the story.
That sucked.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm sorry for ruining your night.
It's too bad we didn't like circle back to the suspicious deaths.
Well, now you have so much to think about when you go to sleep tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to like download it all into my brain.
Yeah.
Make sense of it.
Sorry about that. Yeah, enjoy your bar in like 4 hours.
Oh my god, it feels like it's 1,000,000 It's only 10.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh my god. I remember that you had bar, so I was like, I gotta finish this up. Okay, well, sorry for ruining your day. Bye.